The Safe Love Podcast is a powerful podcast with honest conversations about healthy and unhealthy relationships. We break down red flags, emotional abuse, domestic violence, trauma, boundaries, and healing. This channel is about awareness, clarity, and empowerment. Follow me for more talk weekly. Conversation Love Podcast. The Safe Love Podcast.
Have you ever replayed a conversation in your mind over and over again, hoping one day it would end differently? Hoping one day you'll hear the words, "I was wrong. I'm sorry." Not because you wanted revenge, but because you wanted someone to finally see your pain. What if I told you that some of us have spent decades and decades waiting for an apology that may never come? And what if that wait is keeping us emotionally tied to the very people who hurt us? Today, we're talking about one of the deepest wounds many adults carry: the parents who never says, "I'm sorry." If you ever question your worth because your feelings were ignored, if you ever wonder why it's so hard to trust, to love, or to set boundaries, this conversation is for you. Let's talk about it. Amen. Say man. This is the Safe Love Podcast, where we have honest conversations about healing, healthy relationships, family dynamics, and breaking cycles that no longer serves us. Today isn't about blaming parents or pretending they are perfect. It's about understanding how the absence of accountability can shape a child's life, and more importantly, how we can begin to heal, even if the apology never ever comes. So what we're going to do, we're going to title this as "The Parent Who Never Says I'm Sorry: How Childhood Wounds Follows You Strictly and Straight into adulthood." Okay, this is how it all unfolds. All right, so we're gonna start with this, y'all. The words every child needs to hear, right? Every child needs to hear this in some form of another. We ain't perfect. There's not a manual, so I don't want you to think that it's a manual out there that you need to be reading. Children don't expect perfect parents. They expect safe parents, They expect every parent, they're going to make a mistake. I done made a mistake. I can honestly say that. Every parent will lose their patience at some point or of another. Every parent will have a moment where they wish they could take a break or take back some shit that they said. We all done been there. The problem isn't making a mistake. The problem is pretending that whatever happened never happened. When parents refuse to apologize, children often learn dangerous lessons. They begin to believe, maybe I'm too sensitive. Maybe my feelings don't matter. Maybe love means accepting hurt without accountability. Those beliefs don't stay in childhood. They often follow us into adulthood. Listen. Every child needs to hear your voice. Every child needs to hear accountability from their parents to make a conscious decision of, do I go by what my parents say or do I go by what they show me? And I know in a Black home, we always say, do as I say and not as I do. I'm not familiarized with it, but I mean, I've in my personal home, I'm not familiarized with it. Let me say that. But as in the community, I've heard that numerous of times without an understanding of why we do that. Jay Real says, I got an apology when they was on their deathbed. Listen, and that is the wrong time. Some people may feel, oh, say it, just to say it, at least I said it. But how can I really take you serious if you're on your deathbed? Because really, you just really saying it because you're dying, right? I mean, that's how I look at it. You just saying it because you're passing away. And that's not a way to render an apology. We need to teach the children about accountability. And if they see you not acting in such a way or you're not giving in such a way, then what do you think they think of you? Isn't it important to have a relationship, or isn't it important for a kid to understand their parent and can say, I saw my mom and I saw my dad participate in such manner? Wouldn't that be okay? Let's be honest. Apologizing is difficult. If I'm being real, apologizing is difficult. It's not something that people like to say or do because it puts you in a vulnerability spot. And some people don't want to be there or don't like the space of being vulnerable because they feel like they're being weak. The baddest forms, she says, I haven't got my apology yet. Again, this is why I'm look, don't take me too fast. We're gonna slow down a little bit. We're gonna get to that statement that kicked out for no reason. We're gonna get to that statement, girl. We're gonna get to it. So for some people, admitting they wrong feels like, again, admitting that they're weak, that they don't have no strength. I don't know where this come from. I don't know where this thinking come from, but hopefully by the end of this podcast, we'll be able to figure that out. Others raised in homes where accountability wasn't even modeled. Again, in my mom home, there was one of those things. And even still to this day, with my mama being nearly 70, apology is something that she's not willing to render. She would rather die before she render an apology. Again, because it shows to some people a form of weakness and not saying, oh, I hold myself in a accountability state. And some people don't look at it like that. Some parents generally love their children, but never learn healthy emotional communication. Some people don't know how to communicate. You can apologize and say, hey, how I delivered that, how I said that wasn't the right thing. I was wrong. I can apologize in it. It's not going to make you no less than what you are. Again, I'm not aware where this philosophy or where this thought process come from, because again, you can apologize and you can move forward. And a lot of parents don't understand with apology, you can render that and the kid can understand you better than you not rendering one and just letting the chips fall where they may. Understanding why some struggles to apologize may help us make sense of their behavior. I feel like with the things that I've encountered in my life with my mom, if I could have got an apology, I definitely feel like, look, I can understand her a little bit better to say, you know what? She cares. She cares how she present herself. She cares how she show up. She cares. But understanding someone doesn't erase the impact their action had on us. We can't erase that, but you can say, at least they did apologize. We all human. We not going to all get it right. We not going to all have it together. We not. We not going to all have it together. The hidden cost of never hearing I'm sorry, here's the thing. This is the cost I'm finna tell you. The cost is when parents never acknowledge your pain. Listen. My mom never, ever acknowledged our pain. What we went through, only thing I gotten, even still to this day, I did the best that I could. Do I bash her for that? Again, and I said this a couple of weeks ago, we be waiting forever. If especially if you're born within the 80s, in the late 70s, we got some mean parents. We got some stubborn jokers. We got some ones set in their ways. We got some ones you can't tell them nothing. We got some ones that know everything right. We got some ones that say you ain't been this life and all this here. And they don't understand that now that we're older and there are different things in position, we setting boundaries. We setting boundaries. Many of us become adults who apologize for everything because you don't want to make that mistake like your mom and your dad or your auntie and your uncle. They didn't do that. So we will apologize for everything because we want to make sure the lines are clear and not blurred. Staying in unhealthy relationships feel guilty for having boundaries. Become people pleasers. No. Question our own memories, fear conflicts. Meaning you fear conflicts because why? Your pride, right? So your pride won't let you say, I apologize, or again, you feel like you weak if you apologize. Or some people, you may have been in a situation where people feel like you a joke. So they may laugh when you apologize. So you may feel like you cornered and feel like, hey, why am I apologizing? Because every time I apologize, it's a joke. You know, accept emotional neglect as normal. No, we're not doing that. That's a heavy burden to carry. Listen, the apology may never come. No. It may never show up. It may never present itself. It may never do that. This may be the hardest part of today's conversation. Some parents will never apologize. Again, I stated, my mom would rather die than apologize for something. She ain't finna apologize for nothing. I don't care if you Rosetta Stone her. She ain't finna apologize. I apologize to YT. I'm sorry, the comments I did not have them on. Good evening, good evening, good evening. They ain't finna say they sorry. No, they ain't finna tell you that. Not because your pain wasn't real. They know your pain was real. They know you were hurting in the inside. They feel the pain that you feeling. They see it. They just ain't got it in them to do it. And sometimes you have to be okay with not ever getting an apology. Don't beat yourself up because you ain't the one that created the problem. Don't overexert yourself. They ain't finna apologize because you imagining what happened. No, they ain't finna do that. But because they may not have the emotional tools to face it, waiting forever can become another prison. You can feel like you in prison waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. They ain't finna give you that. Healing begins when your future is no longer dependent on someone. Hear me today. You're never going to get the apology. Look, some people may say, pray, 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 pray. I'm a firm believer now. If you've been praying for 40 years, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to the one that's listening. If you've been praying for 40 years that mama, daddy, sister, auntie, cousin, nephew, niece would apologize, do you got 40 more to keep praying? Ask yourself that. Do you got 40 more years to keep praying? You can heal without their permission. You don't need someone's apology to validate your experience. Your experience is your experience because you experienced it. You don't need someone's confession to know what happened. No, you don't need that. Healing begins when you believe yourself. When you stop minimizing your own pain. Allow yourself to feel the pain. In order to be a diamond, you have to go through the rough. You got to go through the burning. You got to go through the measurement. You got to go through all types of stuff. The heat. You have to go through the pressure in order to become a diamond. So you thought you just weren't going to go through nothing? Nah. When you choose to stop chasing people who refuse to see it, healing would choose you. It will choose you. Even if someone never changes. Again, my mom is in her late 70s. I don't expect anything from her. I expect her to be her. Now I have a choice to indulge or not to indulge. Just because, listen, I said this a couple weeks ago. Just because they are your parent, your aunt, your uncle, your dad, whatever it is, doesn't mean that you're obligated. At some point, when you was a child, you put away those childish things, and when you became an adult, you became an adult. And you put away those childish things. So you no longer operating in the child's mind. But to our parents, we will always be a child. So sometimes they look at us as a joke. You're just a kid. Not rationalizing that, hey, they are grown. They got feelings too. Let me just apologize. And if I set the tone, then they'll show up. Some people don't think like that. If your parent don't apologize to you, if a parent sincerely apologize, listen. Don't you be the stubborn one. Listen to what they have to say. Create a space. And this is a lot of time what really happens. Certain people don't create sacred space. Right? So you already know that our parents, when I say our, 70s, late 70s to 80s, are already set in their ways. So if you don't create the space for them to be vulnerable, which some of them don't even know what it is, if you don't create that space for them, how are they to know? How are they to show up? They probably didn't have the tools from their parents either. So at some point, somebody got to say, hey, I'm the adult here. Let's not do this to one another. Let's be more compassionate. Let's show a little bit more love for each other. When they yield themselves to you, accept it. Even if it's just a teeny. Look, don't be so harsh. Accept that little bit, and next time you get a little bit more till you got a whole sack full, and now your cup is overflowing. So take the time to just listen. Forgiveness is a personal decision. It is. It's not a collective thing. Don't say all of y'all need to be apologizing to me. All of y'all, look. Some of them folks ain't even have the stuff they need to have to be functioning the way they function in that. And if we can get inside their brain and see what's going on and see how they view stuff, man, I'm trying to told you. Forgiveness is a personal decision. An apology is meaningful when it's followed by changed behavior. If you apologizing just for apologizing's sake and you keep showing up in the same way, you ain't mean that. Apology should have actions behind it. It should follow with action. Don't say, oh, I just apologize because I know it was the right thing to do, and I know they're going to be mad if I don't apologize, so I just went ahead and apologize. Are you meaningful of what you said? Because with some people, they can remember stuff that happened back in 1939 and bring it back in 2026, and baby, they hit that ball and all types of stuff going to want to come out their mouth, and you're going to be wondering what's going on here. No. So if you're not getting an apology, or if you're not apologizing and being meaningful when you do it, don't even apologize. Don't even utter those words. Because sometimes, again, you just saying it just to be saying it for our sake. Get it together. Actions matter even more than those words. I've often heard people say, well, if I could just get them to show me a certain kind of way, that's good enough. If that's what worked for you, that's what works for you. I ain't even going to hold you. What healthy parents teach? Healthy parents don't pretend to be perfect. They say things like, I was wrong. I'm sorry. I should have handled that differently. Thank you for telling me how you feel. Those words don't weaken a parent, they build trust. I'm going to tell you, when you don't create sacred space with your children, they ain't going to tell you nothing. What I'm saying to you now, they not going to be able to accept what you got to say if you don't straighten your shit up. No. But those are the words that they say. They tell you, this is how I feel. Hear how they feel. Those words don't weaken you as a parent. This builds a form of trust. You care about how I feel. This teaches children how to have accountability. Half of these kids don't even know what accountability is. They don't. And they model what the healthy love. This is what they're doing. They model what healthy love looks like from your lens, not from their own. So we have to break this cycle. At some point, somebody got to say enough is enough. Maybe your parents never apologize, but that doesn't mean the cycle has to continue. If you're raising children, teach them accountability. My last son is 8 years old. And he also has autism. And accountability is one of the biggest things that we struggle with the most. He's high functioning. And so he's ornery. Let me just throw that out there. So for him to say he did something, he feels like it's a form of punishment. So with him, I have to be a little bit more softer, a little bit more delicate, and I have to show up a little bit more than I do for my like my oldest. I have to show up for my youngest one a little bit more because he has autism. But I ain't gonna stop until he understands what accountability means. He only 8. If you hurt them, apologize. If you wrong them, own it. You have the opportunity to become what you need. Not because you're perfect, but because you're willing to grow. You're willing to grow. There's never an ending point where you just stop growing. Maybe in physical size, body-wise or feet-wise or some sort. But you're never at a point, even when it comes down to healing, there's always a healing stage. You're going to forever go through. It's not, I'm healed and I ain't going to be nothing else I'm going to be going through. Maybe that's going to continue to be stuff that you go through. There's going to be more and more and more. Your child is going to understand you better when you can say, I'm wrong. I apologize. I won't hurt you in that form again. Now, if you apologize and then you turn around and do it again, I may give you another little chance, but that third time, now you playing me. Because now you're the baby, go on with that. Move around. Because you already showed me 3 times how baseball work. And I'm good on that. So you need to apologize, follow up with actions behind that apology. If you say you're going to keep showing up and show them how you're going to show up. Don't just be saying it and not knowing why the hell you're showing up. Show up. Show out. Thank you for the likes. Keep showing up and spread the love abroad. Don't keep talking about a problem you're not becoming the solution. Keep showing up. Show up for these kids. It's very vital to keep showing up. And these children to come. From 2000 on to 2026 now. These kids, they don't understand what accountability is. They don't understand what none of it means. Because you as the parent didn't explain it. Your parent didn't explain it to you. Again, it's not a form of weakness. Really, if I'm gonna look at it, it's really a form of adulting. It really is. So hold yourself accountable. I done even did some stuff. Look, I'm being honest, y'all. I done even did some stuff when I know. Simple as paying a bill and know I was supposed to pay this bill and know I messed up with paying it on the wrong cycle day. Now they done send it to two bills at one time. Child. Now I'm left to try to apologize to myself and to the bill collector, trying to understand, can we negotiate something? We all make mistakes. We're not the perfect parent. There's no manual. Everybody handbook read differently. But what we do know, accountability should be a part of everybody's life, no matter how the accountability shows up. It should follow by actions. It definitely should follow by actions. It should not be something that just normal and roll off your mouth and you're like, I'm apologize. Well, at least I apologize to you. Yeah, all right. But how many times you keep apologizing? In the relationship form, I like to say this. I can forgive you for a lot of different things, but what I cannot forgive you is for keep repeatedly doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Listen, this is not baseball. I am not the owner of Walmart or Target. Get it together. Get it together. So, if you spend years waiting for an apology, I want to leave you with this. Help is too valuable, too valuable to place in someone else's hands. An apology, it can help, but it is not the only path to peace. You deserve healthy relationships. You deserve respect. You deserve to be heard. Most importantly, you deserve to heal. Thank you for joining me on the Safe Love podcast. If this episode encouraged you, please subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with someone who's still waiting for the apology that they never may receive. Until next time, remember, safe love takes responsibility. Safe love, listen. Safe love grows. Until then, see.
The Safe Love podcast is a powerful podcast with honest conversations about healthy and unhealthy relationships. We break down red flags, emotional abuse, domestic violence, trauma, boundaries, and healing. This channel is about awareness,